Yes, I'm a big believer in highlighting.
And your name, spell your name.
Let me give you my card.
All right, so look, if y'all were here, you would have got a book. That's why y'all need to be coming in person
Yep.
to what we're having at the Coaching and Training Center. All right, but I'm super excited to have Ms. Chantel Frolick here again with us with Fidelity National Title. She is going to be talking to us about what I feel is the most critical aspect of being successful in real estate. And that is, how do you utilize your time, right? We use the term time management. The reality is that you can't manage time because time gonna keep moving forward. It ain't nothing you can do to hinder or stop time. So it ain't nothing you can do with time. What we're really saying is that how do you manage yourself within the parameters of time? So Chantel is gonna give us some resources. She's gonna give us some strategies. And we are already using, this is a major element in our Masterpiece one-on-one coaching. So make sure you got your journals, make sure you're taking notes, and we're gonna put our seatbelts on and Chantel is gonna get us right?
Absolutely.
All right, so
Absolutely.
you guys, let's do it. Let's learn.
Hey, everybody, thanks for having me back. So I'm old, so I'm not super fond at looking at a camera, so I'm gonna look at y'all. So this to me this is huge for me. I'm actually gonna end up sounding like one of those, like, totally stoner hippies to be like, wow, man, it's all about time. It's about time. It is all about time. And I try not to use the word that this is my obsession, it's my fascination. But, I'm about to embark onto my 60th decade on this world. But it's finally dawning on me, and part of what I want to talk to y'all about, and I am going to give you strategy and I am going to give you tools. But I want y'all to completely start thinking about time differently than what you have been. I don't think any of us take it as seriously as we need to. So one of the things that, I want to make sure that he's with us. So are you okay? Okay. So one of the things I've always, I've gotten to where I started saying is I can always make more money. I cannot make more time. So, and we have the attitude of, I'll do it later. I'll get to it, and exactly what Michael was saying, time waits for no man. It keeps ticking along. And it is truly our most precious commodity. It is the one thing you cannot get back. You cannot make more of. So my intention is to get people to start looking at time as that valuable commodity. How do I want to spend it? And then honestly, it's not just a commodity, it's a gift. It truly is a gift. When someone gives me their time, it is a gift. When I give my time to someone else, it is a gift. It is an investment. I'm either investing in the business, I'm investing in the relationship, I'm investing on my desired outcome, regardless of whether it's personal or business. Okay, so that kind of makes sense to y'all. So one of the things that, and y'all have been heard this before, I promise you there's nothing new. Even my coach, the one who wrote this, she's like, and this is when I actually had an epiphany, because we've had lots of discussions about this, because my objective when I'm talking to my coach is like, okay, this is what I'm doing. It's working really, really well. This is the results I'm getting from that. But we're always growing, right? Our goals are being pushed, or we're saying that, here you go, here's a book for you. Our goals are always being pushed, and so it's like, okay, this is what I've done, these are my goals. I still have the same number of hours. I'm not like all of a sudden I got new hours. How do I leverage the time that I have to meet those goals, right? And Charlotte made the comment, she's like, okay, it's again the same thing, drilling down on what you're spending your time on. She's like, Chantal, She goes, it's a process every day. It's not like someone handed you a spiral notebook. I'm like, I got it. I have master time. I am totally good with this. And it's, yeah, and I really did have that epiphany. It was just like, holy crap, she's right. This is, you know, the struggle is real and the struggle is every day. And you have to be, you know, holding yourself accountable. And that's one of the things that on the last class that I taught y'all, when I was talking about the, you know, the rehydration and maintenance system, and I told you before you start this, before you even try to start this, be honest with yourself. You lie to me, you lie to him, even though he's like, yeah, you don't lie to me. But it's like, do not lie to yourself. You have to be honest with yourself and be like, okay, this, you know, because there's a log that you're gonna keep. You need to be honest with yourself when you're putting in there what it is, how are you spending your time? So first and foremost, yes, time block. Absolutely time block. Now, I thought I was time blocking. And then I thought I was being awesome at it. I wasn't at all. So the first thing, actually the very first thing that I think that you need to have in your mind when you start your day and before you're about to do something or before you're about to commit to something, and it sounds very mercenary, but it's a real question. I mean, it's a real question that you're asking yourself. Is this going to make me money? You know, in fact, my counterpart out in the Woodlands, she cracks me up. When I first met her, she was just like, if they making me money, I ain't doing it. And I'm like, well, that's a little harsh. And I realized she's absolutely right. She's absolutely right. So that's the question. Is this going to make me money? Now, granted, we all want balance in our lives, right? So I've had especially moms with kids, with young kids. They're like, I can't time block. No. There's just too much going on in my life. I can't time block. And it's like, you of all people need to time block the most, because when you only have a certain number of hours in your day that you can actually devote to work, to real estate, you need to make sure in those hours, you're squeezing it for every penny and second that it's worth. Because that's what it is. It's not penny, dollars, whatever, pesos, whatever you want to call it. But it really is if you are super busy, all the more to time block. If you're dual career, all the more reason to time block. You know, if you just need a lot of downtime, all the more reason to time block. So that you know that during this time frame, or this block, this hour, whatever it is, that's actually what I'm doing. I'm not pretending to prospect. And I end up just calling my friends. So I know, like I said, I am the poster child for time management. I've struggled with it my entire life. Even things like running late. I grew up that way. We used to call it Bolero time because my dad was always late. My dad was the king of, you know, he would end up working really, really late at night because he didn't time block ahead of time. I mean, he was very, very successful, but even he told me at one point, I can only imagine how much more successful I would have been if I had time block. If I was more organized, as he put it. The time block wasn't a thing. It was about being more organized. So when you're time blocking, in this part's gonna suck. I'll tell y'all right now. Can I share? Sorry. Share the screen. Okay. This is a time log. This part's really, really gonna suck. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. And it's in 15-minute increments. So it starts at 6 a.m. and I think it stops at 10 something, midnight. So if you've gone to bed, great. And I will say that that's one thing. This is also about your health and your sanity. You need to make sure, you know, so I'm just putting on my mom hat right now. You need to make sure you're getting enough sleep. The reason for that is you don't want to basically burn the candle at both ends and then you're down and you're out. It's like, it's all about maintaining the pace that we can. And in doing that, that means we're kind to ourselves and kind to our body. We give it enough fuel, the right fuel, not crap, right fuel and sleep. Sleep is how your body repairs itself. Okay. This is in 15-minute increments. So you're gonna say, 6 a.m. If you get up earlier than that, put that in. I did that because my wake up time was 5. So I just do it above that. So 5 a.m. It's if you have your meditation time, prayer time, whatever it is, put everything in here. Now this is for both personal and business. When you're time blocking using your calendar, I have some folks that are like, oh, well, this is my work calendar, this is my personal calendar. Like, yeah, no. That's the best way to get in trouble, overbook yourself, not show up, miss an appointment. You want to make sure that everything's on the same calendar. It's a really good idea to have your calendar shareable. Whether you're sharing it with your business partner, your domestic partner, the personal, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And this is kind of true life stories. I finally learned to share my calendar with my husband because I am going all the time. I would forget to tell them, oh yeah, I have a bet tonight. Sorry, don't cook dinner or whatever, or we're gonna change plans. And that's just obnoxiously rude of me to not tell somebody, hey, I'm really sorry, that this is what's going on. It's on my calendar. My office knows what I'm doing, but my husband doesn't. So it is a really good idea to share your calendar. That way no one's committing the other person to something that they can't do. You want to make sure, when I talk about time blocking, and I'm talking about putting both personal and work on it, I'm even talking about things like, I gotta go to the cleaners and pick up clothes. And you need to have it on your calendar so that it gets done. If it stays in your head, that's when you forget. And the reason why that is so important is because if you forget and you don't go pick up, say you're cleaning on Monday, Tuesday's crazy, Wednesday's crazy, Thursday morning, you're so excited, you've got a major listing appointment. But I didn't pick up my laundry on Monday. So my great, lucky, confident suit that I was gonna wear on Thursday morning, I'm looking in the closet and I'm like, I don't have it. Now I'm scrambling to do something else. And it's little things like that. And believe it or not, little things like something not going the way you want in our appearance will undermine your confidence. It will show through. It's just little things like that. So it's like Michael always says, get ready to be ready. It's making sure that all these details are in our calendar, so that we know. I use my calendar as my to-do list. It is, everything is on my calendar. One of my coaches, and I got a lot of my time management stuff from her. She wants such a good, this woman she's a freaking machine. She does suck the joy out of life, I swear. But she said, she made the comment, she goes, I hate it when someone comes to me and tells me that they're overwhelmed. She goes, that just tells me that they're not organized. And I'm like, crap, she's right. And it's because, we all have a ton of stuff to do and it's in our head and we've got it on a list. But if we give it a place to live on the calendar, our mind can calm down because we know it's going to get done on Tuesday at 10:30, between 10:30 and 10:45. Even the little things, we need to make sure, because if you don't write it down and you just hold it in your head, you're going to be laying in bed at 11 o'clock at night and you're like, crap, I forgot to call so-and-so. Well, I forgot to do this. It never fails. It never fails. So now, does anybody have any questions so far?
I think that's a great idea though. For the little things, like I have pay your bill.
Right.
Change.
One that I don't like to pay.
Yeah, trust me. This has been a life altering experience for me. So,
And I have a lot of things that I do, and I do put them on my calendar, but I don't put the personal things, and that's why you said that is good.
yeah,
I don't put things like you said, I need to call my doctor to make sure I verify what I'm supposed to have and do for that. And I'm sitting here when you just said 11 o'clock, I think I did that last night, and now here it is, and I still haven't called.
Yeah,
And then I'm gonna be in the procedure, and I didn't do what I was supposed to. So,
yeah, no, exactly. It is all of that. And you know, when you're, and so here's the big thing, and this is the really hard part. A time block, it's on the calendar, good. Again, if you don't look at the calendar, respect the calendar, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. That is so much harder than I ever would have thought. You know, we're all in a service industry. And honestly, I think for the majority of it, people that, especially people that go into real estate, because we want to help people. Yeah, we want to make money, but you do have a servant's heart. And saying no is so hard. I don't know if y'all remember Happy Days Fonzie, when he had to say he was wrong, he was like, I'm wrong, he couldn't say wrong. It's how I feel about no, I'm like, I can't, it's like, I don't want to let my team down. I don't want to let my friends down. I don't want to let their clients down. You want to say yes. If there's any way possible, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna get it done. What happens? So I'll have my calendar and everybody has access to my calendar, so they know when I'm booked. But they also know when it's like my stuff, like my job, like, you know, follow up on this, call this one. And it's not like a setup appointment with another person, but it is what my job is, following up, making sure prospecting, I prospect just like y'all. All that's on my calendar. And I will get a call. Oh my gosh, I need your help. This is it'll be like one of my teams saying, I need, you know, we're really booked and I really need to work on, you know, getting this one file ready for tomorrow. Can you do this closing for me today? Absolutely, I'm there for it. Absolutely. And what do?
You missed it.
I move my thing down. Move it down, and I move it down again, and I move it down again. And all of a sudden it's completely off, like off the calendar. And so that's one of my struggles is to respect that, to respect the calendar and do what you're supposed to do, do what you're supposed to do. So now, the way to help you respect the calendar is, so Coach Lisa, and she's absolutely right, use alarms. Use alarms on your phone. Every task that you have, say whether you've time blocked for 15 minutes or an hour and a half, you set a timer for when that time is up. And it is imperative that you stop. And she even made a point of saying, I don't care if, you know, she's like, I don't care if, you know, they're making calls, if they're prospecting, you're doing great. It's like, call. It's awesome, just got on a roll. I want to keep going. She's like, nope, you stop. And you stop, because if you don't, you are now stealing time away from the next task, which means it's either not going to get done well, or it's going to bleed into the next one, or it's not going to get done at all. And I'm like, she's right. Well, and she goes, my alarm stopped from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. She goes, it's, you know, from 6 to 8, I'm a mom. And this is 6 in the evening till 8 at night. And I'm just like, her kids are so little. And I'm like, you know, 8:15, sorry, your time is up, you're gone. To her poor husband, yeah, 15 minutes. Like, I mean, so that's what I meant about suck the joy out of life. I am not that rigid. I probably should be. I've been told I'm too generous with my time, but it's because I believe in what I believe in the person that I'm with. This is what I want to do. Now, to that point, Remember I told you I've been struggling with this all my life. So my ex-husband, who we're still good friends, he made an observation, and he wasn't saying this to be ugly, because I mean, literally, I have struggled with this my entire life. Running away. He goes, I figured out why you run away. And I'm like, please enlighten me. And he said, no, he's like, really? He goes, you think you can do 6 things in the span of time where you absolutely only can realistically do 2. And he was absolutely right. He was absolutely right. So that's one of the things, that when you're time blocking, be realistic in the amount of time it's going to take you to do something. A way to help you expedite things, or make yourself more efficient when you are time blocking, is again going back to what Michael says about the get ready to be ready. Have systems in place already that if you're doing a listing presentation, you know, have everything already set up to where all you're doing is plugging in the subject address. You know Matrix well enough to where you can do a CMA quickly. Right before listing presentation is not the time to learn how to do a CMA. Make sure that you have educated yourself in, you time blocked it well beforehand, where I know how to do this. I have a system in place. If it's, this helps greatly. Make note cards for yourself. Make like an index card. And the index card is literally step by step by step by step. Because I don't know about y'all, but if I haven't gone into a particular system in a while or done a particular task in a while, I'm like, how do you do that again? And I've learned, I'm not dumb, but I'm not that, I don't know if I'm old or what it is, but we're all that way. If you don't use something every day, you need to put step by step note off to the side and say, okay, when I'm doing this, these are the steps. In that way, you're much, much faster, more efficient. It's my biggest pet peeve. My house, there literally is, everything has a place to live and everything lives in its place. It's my biggest pet peeve is to have to look for something. So the storm came last night, and there's a particular spot in the kitchen, like here's the olive oil, here is the container that has, some spatulas and stuff in it. And right between the two, that's where the flashlight is. So lights went out, storm, I go to the kitchen, and I did remember my husband was using the flashlight earlier. And because he gives me a hard time about this, it's like, it's here. No, it belongs here. Because literally in the dark, I went and the flashlight wasn't there. I had to find my phone, turn on my flashlight, and yes, the flashlight was farther down the counter. But the whole point, I can go into my kitchen and find anything in the dark. Huh? It wasn't back in the right spot. And in an emergency like that one, like, lights were off. But it's those kinds of things. It's the same thing with your systems in work. It's like, okay, for my listing presentations, this is where everything is. For my buyer's presentation, this is where everything is. So that way, there was a guy that, what's his name? Michael Hullickson, I saw him speak last week. And his was like, I think one of the people that one of his coaches was saying, it should take you 2 minutes to do a CMA. It should take you less than, he was like, it should take you 0 minutes because the person on your team is handing it to you. And she and I spoke, I'm like, I want to know what it says. I'm a little OCD that way. If you couldn't tell by the flashlight. But anyway, so it is about that get ready to be ready. It's the whole point is to not reinvent the wheel every single time we do something. Because that's what's going to make us much, much more efficient in our day. And it's what's going to it's what's going to enable you to build teams, to work with others, to where you can have that work balance life, to where you can actually, take a day off or a long weekend because there's someone else that can step right into your place in your system because everything is there and everything is organized and you can find it in the dark. So, any questions? I'm trying to make everyone OCD. Is what it is. You know, I've had people say, I was like, yeah, I'm a little bit obsessive compulsive, like you said, that like it's a bad thing. So, now, with the time blocking, absolutely recommend that you keep that electronically, so that way you can share your calendar with whoever. And again, the personal and work needs to be on the same calendar. Now, I used to be, everything was paper for me, you know, I had the old Franklin book, you know, agenda. And so then, you know, phones came out and it took a lot. Actually, it took me losing my calendar one time to be like, okay, yeah, we're gonna be electronic. So, but it took a lot, you know, because I'm old school, like, oh, I don't wanna, you know, I wanna hold it, feel it, lick it, touch it, smell it, you know. And so I moved away from all that. And Coach Lisa's like, you're gonna get a spiral notebook. And I'm like, oh, for the love of Pete, you know, like, no. Changed my life. And I'm not exaggerating. I am absolutely not exaggerating. So she said, you're gonna get a spiral notebook. She goes, on the right-hand side, you're gonna put the date. On the left-hand side is gonna be the notes. So now I'll show you stuff like this. I don't know if y'all can see this. Well, if I'm sharing, I may not be able to. Does anybody have this up? I don't know if they can. Are they? No. If I'm sharing, can I hold this up to the camera and see, or they won't see it? They'll just see what I'm sharing, right? Yeah, let me do that. Stop sharing. Okay. So, you can see this. All right, so it's just a spiral notebook like this. Now, it has different, you know, yeah, got stuff like taped to it. So one side is a list, the other side is for notes. I tape things to it. So as you go on your day, this is your to-do list. It will reflect a lot of things that are already on your calendar. But as you're going in your day, you know how you're in the middle of working something, someone calls like, hey, I need such and such, blah, 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 and you're like, yeah, sure, no problem. Like, and you know, and then 3 minutes later, someone else walks up and they start talking about something else, and that is like poof, gone. That's what you write this down. You write it down on your list, or if you know, it's like, I need to call so and so. When you're doing your time blocking, let me back up a little bit. When you're doing your time blocking, you also want to make sure that you're putting in things as simple as, this is the time it takes me to get ready. Say that's in the morning. Say you're here at the office and you've got an appointment downtown. You need to factor in drive time and be realistic about the drive time. Use Google, Waze, whatever, you know, to figure out what the time is. I was doing that, and I was consistently 5 minutes late whenever I was leaving from the office. And I kept figuring out, I was like, why am I late? I timed it from me walking out of my office to actually driving out of the garage was 5 minutes. And it's like, okay, now to factor that in. If I'm leaving from that building, I need to factor that in. And it was one of those things like, really? 5 minutes? So you want to factor those things. There will be times when you will have what she called gap time. Now, gap time is time, like say you finished, you time blocked an hour and a half, but you finished in, you know, an hour and 15 minutes. Or you're at a doctor's appointment and you're sitting there waiting. That's where this comes in. This is when you pull it out and you start like, okay, going down your list. This is what I can get done while I'm here. This is what I can get done while I'm here. Now, as you complete each task that's on your list, you highlight it out. It just feels really good. So highlight it out, but also when you're looking back, like say it's like, you know, you're like, for anything like me, it's like, I do that, did that get done, and I can look back and it will show, okay, yes, that was completed. It was so life altering that I actually used it in my personal life. So I would notice that on a Sunday evening, getting in bed, I'm laying in bed going, oh man, even things like change the filter, something that would take like 5 minutes. Do this little thing, do this little thing, do this little thing. And I'd be like, crap, I didn't do that, do that, do that. This was one weekend. And I literally, I think out of 24 things, 1, 2, 3, 4 things didn't get done. That I just ran out of time. But they were all the things that I wanted to do. And some of them were like 10 minutes, some of them were bigger projects. But yeah, it's just like, it's that life altering. It really is.
So I have a question. So you have your time management, your log, time. This is in addition to that. So,
Okay, so the time log that we're gonna do, I'm gonna go back to that in a minute. That's just an exercise for you to see how your time is going.
okay,
That's only that you do it for at least 3 days.
okay,
No, so this list is for your this list is for your time blocking, for using your calendar.
okay.
This is used in conjunction with your calendar. So my whole, I literally stopped my feet and gnashed my teeth on I do not want to go back to having a book. And I can't imagine being without my book now. Because it really does, it makes sure that, it's all about making sure that nothing falls through the cracks as much as you can. No one's ever gonna be perfect. And things are still gonna get moved off your calendar. Anything that does not get finished on, in the spiral book, anything that does not get finished goes to the next day. And you just put the date at the top, number at 1 through 25, left side is for notes. And that's actually really nice, because if I'm having a conversation with someone, I can, a telephone conversation, I can make a quick note. I will say this, just if anyone is their handwriting challenge like I am. If I'm in a meeting, I will use my iPad and I take notes that way. Because I've noticed that I have really crappy handwriting. And there are times where I'm looking like, that's not even a word. I have no idea what that is. So it's just know yourself, know what works best for you. One of the things I do like about my iPad as well is I can do a word search. So if I'm looking for a particular meeting, or if I was on a webinar, I can do a word search and find it quickly. I still do take notes on this. And this is, so some of us have the sticky note habit that's really hard to break, which I swore, I remember my dad, there were sticky notes everywhere, post-it notes, and I remember, never gonna be like that, never, yeah. The nut does not fall far from the tree, just put it that way. Let's see how we're doing on time, okay. So the spiral notebook and the time blocking are the most essential things that I can tell you to do. Now, we're going to go back to this. Share screen. Okay, so we've seen the templates. Let me show you now the time log. These are the directions here. So you're going to keep a log for 3 days, and you're going to put every stinking thing you put on there. Going to the bathroom, it goes on here.
Really?
I mean, I can tell you, this is about being honest with yourself. It's
Okay.
like, what, how long do you really need to be in the bathroom? Are you in the bathroom or are you on your phone? Just
There
saying.
you go, there you
Yeah,
go.
so new rule, don't take your phone
phones
into the bathroom, which is just icky to begin with. So, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like that, yeah, I had teenage boys. It's like, so anyway, so you're recording every day, 15-minute increments from the time you get up to the time you go to bed. All right. Now, be accurate as possible. And the key thing is it says you're putting down the day that you actually have, not the day that you hope to have. This is not where you're putting in your appointments. This is putting in what you actually did. And it could be you know, stood in traffic, stood in line at the store, whatever it is. Put those things in, okay? And big key thing, don't save it for a week that's looking to look really good. You know, it needed to be a typical week, right? Typical work day. And this is for y'all. I mean, if you want to share it with me, you can, you know, but this is really, no one else is gonna see this but you. So be as brutally honest as you can be. Let's see here. Now, on here, it does say, you know, let it show whether it was a business-related activity or if it was a personal-related activity, okay? Okay, so those are the instructions. Here's where it's gonna get ugly. This is, let me see if I can read this. These are your colors. So you're actually, when, you know, you're gonna get a.
It's not showing. So what you gotta do is
Oh, let me
share your screen, not just the tab.
Yeah, let's see. I need to. Let me stop this. Okay. So you've got 4 modes. You got play mode, you got organization mode, you have pay mode. We always use green for that, and you got time wasters. Okay. So you're with, you can use a highlighter and you can go in and you're gonna mark on each of those 15-minute increments what color they were. So, and the hardest part is truly is when you look back at your schedule and you identify where you wasted time. Okay, so you'll see that. And I'm gonna send all these to y'all. Let me pull up another one. Let's see. Where'd you go? To that. Okay. This is where it's gonna hurt. Sorry. Just saying. Okay. So this is where you track. So you have total hours tracked. That's gonna be from the time you got up to the time you went to bed. And then by what you marked. So 0.25 is 15 minutes, 30, 50, 45 is 75. So you're gonna be able to see how much time you actually spent in pay mode, how much time you spent in organization mode, and how much was play, which is personal, and how much was just an absolute waste of time. I have my thoughts on Facebook. They're not all fit for public consumption, but that's okay. With Facebook, if you are not careful, it is a total waste of time. So when you go onto Facebook, and if you're doing it to totally chill and jump, then great, that's fine. Still use the timer, because if you don't, before you know it, you look up and 2 hours has passed by, and you're like, what just happened? But you absolutely do need to be on Facebook for work, and you need to, again, it's all about optimizing your time and making sure that what you're doing is done in the most efficient way possible. Create the custom lists so that when you've time blocked that you're going to be on Facebook for 30 minutes, you're pulling up a custom list for your nurture, your warm leads, your hot leads, and you're going and it's only pulling up those people. You can go in, bam, 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 bam. You're posting on them, you're liking, you're looking at their stuff, and you're as efficient as you possibly can be. It is not the mind scroll hoping that you see something interesting that might be business. It is you're a hunter. You're not just waltzing through the meadow twirling your hair. So this is the ugly part, just so y'all know. But don't hate me in the messenger. I'm just the messenger. So do y'all have any questions on that? So I'm gonna show you this. This was created during the pandemic, but it's something that you may look at doing for yourself. You can tell it was, we did this during the pandemic because it was for virtual meetings. But it's you start whenever you want to start, whatever you're comfortable with. But it just gives you an idea of the tasks that actually should be done every day. Prospecting should be done every day. You know, we've talked about the rehydration and maintenance system. That is such a perfect structured capsule to put into your prospecting day, because you know exactly who you're calling and why you're calling, and you know, and how you're calling, how you're reaching out to them. So it depends, you know, everybody's business is different. Like my sales manager, she's like, you should have 6 appointments a day. And I'm just like, okay, well, that's great if I don't actually want it to mean anything. To me, and you know, she probably smacked me, but it works. It should be at least 3, maybe 4 appointments a day, because that way you have a true substantive interaction with somebody. I truly think if you try to squeeze, and this is just my personal opinion, if you try to squeeze, you know, 6 and 7 appointments in a day, it's literally that's okay, you're done. You run up to that, and it's next, and it's like there's nothing authentic or anything that's gonna stick about it. So I am quality over quantity, absolutely. But make sure you're not just making an appointment with your friend that you're gonna hang out, you know. So those are, you know, again, that's all part about being honest with ourselves. And it's like, is this going to be, you know, a real substantive meeting? So again, it is all about time blocking. I've given y'all this book. So this is my coach Charlotte. It was amazing and awesome. She's been in real estate for 30 years, I think. And she and her husband actually coach worldwide. So they coach companies, you know, they coach companies and teams all in the US and overseas. One of the things I love about this book is that she pulls from others. She pulls from Gary Keller, she pulls from Tony Robbins, and it's bringing all this information into one place. Like I said, you know, highlight. It's, you know, and she's realistic though, which I love. She's like, if you're gonna have a bad day, have a bad day. Unplug, step back, and yeah, lay on the couch and watch, you know, reruns of shows. Yeah, but just recognize it, and you can't have them every day, and hopefully they're few and far between. But if you really need to have a bad day, have a bad day. You know, I mean, I am a firm believer in the mentalcation. You know, it's like sometimes you just need to unplug. One of the things that I think will help as well is defining what is important and what is urgent. That is absolutely huge. You know, in the grand scheme of life, I guess, you know, all things that are important, right? But, I have to get some water. Water? Talking too much, sorry. Yeah. Oh, thank you. So what are the kind of fires that y'all are seeing yourselves having?
It's definitely time management for me because I do work a full-time job. And I'm trying to incorporate this in my day, even though I'm working from home.
Yeah.
Some days I do need to go into the office and that's just like, today is one of those days, so I'm here with you guys, and then I gotta run over there, then I'm gonna run back home because there's other things that I still need to do at home, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely the management of my time.
It is.
And I'm not penciling it down, you know what I'm saying? I'm really not, I'm trying to
How do
go
you
off
stay
memory.
sane?
I don't, and I'm trying to, go off memory and remember I was supposed to do this and do that, and then it gets put off to the next day with other things that I need to do for the next day as well,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's where I am.
So there is everything, it is a ripple effect. It's in, and that's the only way, and that's why I say it really is a struggle every day. Because you do have to stay on top of it every day, so the next day.
Right.
But it is a process. You know, and I think that's what helped me kind of calm down a bit in the sense of, because I really was just like with Charlotte, like, okay, I work crazy hours as it is. I get up at 5, my first meeting's at 6:30. You know, but that's with my assistant. I hired an assistant. I personally hired an assistant to keep me sane because I'll tell her, say, I need this research done, I need you to put this into my CRM, this is what I've done, just so that, and this to me, I'm willing to pay an assistant to input in my CRM, because if I can't track it, I can't measure it. I'm telling you this for you to see the importance of a CRM. If I can't look back on a client, if I call somebody today, and then because I don't have them in the CRM, I don't call them for 6 months, I might as well never call her to begin with.
Right.
And it's like, it is making sure that I follow up and I actually, this is not an exercise in going through the motions and making the calls if I never convert. And that's the name of the game, is conversion. And staying in the process, the road to that conversion is reaching out regularly, following the maintenance program that I shared with y'all, following that and making sure that it is in your calendar, that you're prospecting every day. You know how they always say, what you do today, is gonna show up 90 days from now, right? Literally, you met a guy in a class, we talked, gave him some resources, invited him to a seminar I was giving, he came to that. In 90 days, to the day. The reason I know is because on that first day, I gave him the Fidelity Agent app. Fidelity Agent app expires in 90 days automatically. And on that 90th day, I got a notice saying, hey, Mustafa's app is expiring, renew him. And I got a contract for him that same day. And it's like, oh my gosh. I mean, literally, there was never a more picture perfect example of what you two do today shows up 90 days from now. But it was because I kept up with him during the interim. And sure enough, it was just like, it just, the whole 90-day thing just made me smile. So that's, I mean, I don't want to say that's it because there's always something, but yeah, I mean, unless y'all have any questions, I think we're right on time.
I kind of have one. So I keep everything except for the cat in my phone.
Yeah.
And so little things, like you say, little things, like I have paid this credit card because it's like, I want to pay it.
Yeah.
Which I didn't do, so I need to move it up to anyway. But so the spiral, should it match a mirror to phone, or that's just more explanation of what's
This is more explanations of
what's on the
this,
calendar.
yeah. So now the part of going to the bathroom, that's only for the exercise of doing the time
Okay,
log.
got
You
it.
don't need to put that in your
No, I
calendar. Though, I mean, honestly, at some point, I'm like, I need to schedule going to the bathroom because my first year in title, this is almost 10 years ago, it was 10 years ago. Never had a UTI in my entire life. I had 2 in 1 year, the first year of title, and he's like, stop holding your pee.
Yeah.
But you get wrapped up in stuff and you like with your, I know with your life, if you're doing dual career and, and bouncing between 3 different places,
Right.
Yeah. you're having a schedule to go pee.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like you can put in your time log, you can put housekeeping, then it just says housekeeping. And there, in my calendar, there are, like if it's specific things, if it's expense report, if it's, commission report, I'll put it in there. Or if I know, I won't go into complete detail, but it's like, okay, send Sheila, blah, 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 whatever. It'll have it in there. This is what goes into more detail. This is what goes into, follow up on this, check on so and so.
So do you write that list up in the morning and then you check it off, or you write it as you do the detail?
Sometimes it's done the day before. So if it's at night and I'm looking at the next day, it's
Okay.
I'll put things on there. And there'll be things that are happening, even if it's the middle of the day, I'm like, okay, I know I need to do this tomorrow. I'll go ahead and put it in for the next day. And it's not in any order of importance. It's just, it's almost, it can be, just the flow that's just coming out. It's like, okay, I need this, and this. It's, it's awful how I'll think of something like, I need to write down, go get the pen, like, what's that? What did I need to write down? It's like, geez.
I have a bunch of these ones around.
Yeah.
Look over.
So that's the thing, it needs to be in one single place. And that's why I actually like having this one blank, so I can't, if I write something on a sticky note, I'll put the sticky note in there. So it at least keeps it, I'm not turning into Frank where it's like everywhere. But it's, the two things. Is it gonna make you money? Is it, is it urgent? As opposed to important, as far as, prioritizing. Prioritizing is huge. Consistency is huge. And just, I'm telling you, because prospecting is a thing that we like to do least, it'll be the first thing to get pushed off your calendar if you're not careful. Yeah, it is, but just know every day is a new day to be better. And every day it is a you're practicing time management. I don't think we're ever mastering it. We can do our best to do that.
I've spent, I'd say the last 2 years, doing just what I want to do. And I don't have any organization. Some days I get things done, some it is awesome. But it's awesome to a point, but it's not awesome because I'm looking at the time waste. I'm like, gosh, I spend so much time to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I don't make money, so that is obviously not a priority. I am motivated by the fact that I'm not really thinking I gotta do this, but I'm telling you, as a human being, you feel like I haven't done anything.
Okay, so if money's not the motivation, one of the absolute an absolute direct result of the activity that you do in the business that you're helping people. You are helping people.
Yeah, purpose
So you
is the
can,
motivation.
and you can look at it, it's like, who have I helped today? If it's not going to be, is this going to make me money? It could be, is this going to help someone today? It could be, that's the question you ask yourself.
And then keep in mind, the money is not like I don't need the money, because
Yeah, I
I
don't-
don't need money, but I've learned to say, well, I can do without that.
Yeah.
But purpose is my motivation. And that's what you feel like, yeah, but done anything, not only for anyone else, I've done anything for myself.
Yeah.
So,
You haven't done for anything for yourself or anyone else. And that's, and just, I was filling out this application for an organization and they were asking, it's like, well, what are your hobbies? And I'm like, and it was an organization I was having to do before. I'm like, oh, hobbies. Like, and I'm like, what else do I want to know? And it's a good thing I love my job, right? And I love the
That's
industry we're in. I really, really do love what we do. It's interesting. And you get to help people. So what more could you ask for? But there should be more to life than that. And so I was thinking, I was just like, okay, so when I retire, I want a garden, and so, but it's, even if it's that, it's like, you're bringing beauty into the world, there are flowers, so lovely front yard right now. But yeah, I mean, it's just figuring out what motivates you, whether it's financial, whether it's, helping others, community, whatever. In the industry that you're in, everybody needs a place to live, whether it's buying or selling a home, or whether it's helping them lease and helping them see the path to homeownership. So, yeah, you do good work.
I'm very happy when they get that house.
Yeah, and you'll really,
Very happy.
you do change a life.
Yeah.
You do change a life. And in some instances, you're actually changing the trajectory of that life. Especially if you help someone who's always been a runner, who's come from generation of runners, and you're now showing them that you can own a home.
Right.
It changes the trajectory, not only for them, but their children and those around them. So use our powers for good.
Yeah.
Well, I think, if y'all don't have any more questions, I think Michael had his thing to go to.
All right.
I'm on this page, and at the
Uh-huh.
bottom it says you can download this form at timecrunch.net. I don't know if you're.
So I'm sending you that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sending you that, but you can do it.
No, I
yeah,
was just
sure.
trying to log into their website and that wasn't coming up, so I just wanted to get that.
Yeah,
submitted.
But I'm gonna send this to you, but anything else that's in there, you can go to her website. And she is absolutely wonderful. Yeah, the hard part is when you start, hard part is writing everything down in 15 minutes. And then, but it's just for a minimum of 3 days. You can do for more if you want. And then it's just identifying, okay, what was this really?
And just to add, some things could be like seasonal time changes, like, for example, I switched all my things over when the kids get out of school for summer. It was different, right? Now that they're getting ready to go back to school, I'm now time blocking differently because now
Oh,
I
yeah,
have
oh, yeah,
kids at
yeah.
home.
Right.
So other things can fill that. So sometimes I do seasonal as well.
Yeah.
To change, because now what I would once do in the morning, now I'm cooking, more breakfast, lunch, dinner, time, more so, more snacks in between the kids, and I do with them. So now I'm switching over now, they're back in school, now I gotta replace those times that I be with them with something else.
I got one. So, okay, we're trying to get healthy. Because we really need to get healthy, but my husband and I. And I realized, and again, like I said, time affects everything. I wasn't being organized enough in relation to food. And because I wasn't, I literally, I swear I feel like I drive around this town on 2 wheels sometimes. It's like, because like I said, I am the poster child. I am always, okay, get there. And I realized before title, when I was an agent, I went to the gym 4 days a week. Not because I liked it, but because I knew I had to. It's the only way I was gonna, get it off, keep it off, whatever. And I like to eat, even once I drink it. Since moving to title, I don't have that time anymore. I would go like at 7, be done at 8, go shower, get on with my day around 9:30, and ain't really not happening now at all. On top of that, because I wasn't organized and had healthy things available, I was going through McDonald's. And it was like, oh, it's a Happy Meal, it's not so bad.
Right.
No, I've gained 50 pounds in 10 years. I mean, it's bad, so it's like now, so I started meal prepping. So on Sundays, I take like 30 minutes, and so I'll do, 2 eggs, piece of ham, a piece of cheese, like blackberries or blueberries, that kind of thing. And they're in a little plastic container, so that way during the week, when I am just like, I'm always working to the minutes I have to leave, I'm literally grabbing it as I'm going to work. It has saved my blood sugar, it is, we'll see, we're going here, but, yeah, I got a long way to go. But it's something even just that simple. It's, what I was talking about, having your listing presented, your system ready to go. It's the same thing with food. It's the same thing with doing laundry. So you're not like, my sons are like, well, you just turn them inside. No, it's not a thing. It's not a thing. They just do it to make me go big. But it just, not to sound fatalistic, but everything matters. Everything, there's a ripple effect. It is that butterfly, and there's a ripple effect. Yes.
Do you have any questions from anyone online?
I enjoyed the presentation.
Really? Thank you, because
You get to a point where you don't even think about, I know me, I don't even want to think about time because I know. I'm
nobody
managing
does.
well.
Literally nobody
And
does.
that was one of the, when you told me, I'm like, no, I really do need to
Yeah.
get some.
Well, I don't know if it's because I've gotten older. I don't know if it's because my goals have every year it's, and I'm not talking about like company goals. I'm talking like, these are my goals and I need to, oh, I know what the other one is. It's that, oh crap, it's that, wow, it's only 10 years so I get to retire, yay. And then it's like, oh crap, it's only 10 years. So it's like, okay, you gotta make, what is it, make hay while the sun is shining. And in realizing just how truly finite time is, and how, we can be very careful with our financial budgets, like, okay, what am I spending money on, what am I spending on? We don't do that with our time. What am I actually spending time on?
When I, no, I was just gonna say, when I retired, which was several years ago, my husband was the one that you gotta work, you gotta do something. So I went into real estate. And I'm like, oh God, this is just too much work. I didn't know I could have stayed on the job. And I decided to stop. And then I had things that came up, and I had to take care of daughter, take care of my husband, he passed away. And then I started really looking at the time that I was using and how I was using. I'm like, this is pathetic. I don't do anything. And that's why I say purpose is something, because after a while you realize you miss that joy that people have when you can help them do something. It's not all
There's
about you.
no feeling in the world. But I remember having a client, and they were a young couple, buying their first house. They were the first in both of their families to ever own a house. And I remember they hugged me, and they hugged the one I was working with. We walked away, and Steve looked at me, and he's like, "This is when you know you changed your life." And I was like, "I love you so much. You get it. You get it. You get it." And it still gives me goosebumps, because there is no paycheck in the world that feels that good, ever, ever, ever. And that's why I love what we do. I mean, we help people.
When you talk about not getting up enough to go to the restroom, we got a detail.
Whatever that is.
So I actually have an app on my phone. I think I was looking for.
Tells you to go potty?
Well, it actually, I think it's called Fabulous. I'm not sure, but it allows you to schedule your day. So because it'll tell me you haven't gotten up and moved in the last hour.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
And
Walk
you can,
around.
yeah, and you can tailor it to, do you want to exercise? How much time you want to exercise?
Yeah.
Do you want to eat? Do you want to do that? Do you want to do that? And then it takes my day and alerts me different times
Yes.
throughout the day.
No, that's huge. Because like I was saying at the beginning, you have to take care of all of it. Every area in order to maintain the pace that you want to maintain in your work area. Yeah, so it's just, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
It helps. So this is great. Thank you.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So,
Awesome. Do we have any questions from anyone online?
anybody has questions?
All right. Doesn't seem as so. Can you all hear me on that end?
Because they're all asleep.
No. You've given us some valuable
Blocking is
information. So we definitely thank you for your time. It was definitely a great reminder for myself as I have recommitted myself to go by my calendar. So thank you for that. This will be recorded for those who missed it. We'll put it on YouTube for you and so that you can go back and take a look. But thank you. And we will log off and eat some of this good food here. Y'all take care.
I think time blocking is always possible.